feel him watching me. He's been after me for years.
Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror. Now, today we are joined by an amazing friend of the channel, someone that's been there for us almost since the very beginning, and we've been able to be partners with for a very long time, the absolutely amazing Dice Rollen. Dice, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right so far.
Awesome.
We are very, very excited to have you. So for the people that have just started following us and coming along on the ride with us that don't know you yet, can you talk a little bit about what you do over at your channel?
Chaos. Sheer and utter chaos with a horror flavoring, interestingly enough. Reviews, movie reviews, old, new, obscure, well-known. I do the facts videos for those movies, so things you might not have known about them, hopefully. And Let's Plays, but that's on a bit of a different channel now. We're working on that. We'll get back to that, I swear. Just horror stuff, countdowns, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, I can't wait. And for the Let's Plays, I love those. And for those of you that aren't already, we have all of Dice's social media links as well as the YouTube links down in the description. So if you're not already, make sure you're following them on social media. Make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. I promise you, you will not regret that.
Yes. So today, Dice, do you want to tell everyone what movie we are defending?
Today we're defending Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead.
Yes.
So this movie, I will admit, was a first-time watch for Ashley and I when you said that you were going to defend it.
Honestly, I never really gave any of the Phantasm movies a chance. I know. And after watching this, I'm like, I want more. So thank you. Honestly, thank you. Yes. Yeah. And I'm excited to watch 1 and 2 because I've never even seen them.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh yeah.
I know.
That's what I said. We're in for it.
Yeah.
So, before we actually start defending it, we always go to the Rotten Tomato scores. Now, this actually...
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as some of them that we have done.
This is the highest rated we've had so far.
So far.
It's still not good.
It's not great. It's not great.
The tomato meter is 44%, and the audience score is 43%.
I think it's the closest where we've had the tomato meter and the audience score that close in percentage as well.
Right. And these are... I wouldn't even say that this is a fair ranking, and we'll get more into that the farther we go, but
So Dice, do you want to tell us some of the major criticisms you hear about this movie?
Oh God, let's see. I've made a list.
Okay.
I've made a list. I know that a lot of people, typically what you hear about the Phantasm franchise is 2 is the best. And in a way I can see that, but something that I mentioned in my review is I have some gripes with it. It's not bad. It's the shiniest, if you'll pardon the pun, of the franchise. But there was so much heavy-handedness with the producers or the executive producers, whatever, Universal, in it, that it kind of took away some of the magic that is Phantasm. I'm also very much not a fan of the replacement of A. Michael Baldwin, but we'll get into that. The place that I've heard so far is that the story doesn't make sense. Welcome to Phantasm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess another one is that it's not as serious as some of the previous movies, which baffles the hell out of me because there's always been a sense of humor with it. Always.
Right. And that's what we've heard too, is it's very overly comical.
Yeah.
It's almost the Army of Darkness of the Phantasm universe.
I think the comedy that you do get, it works with the story. It makes it better.
Yeah, it's Coscarelli's tone, if you will,
when
it comes to storytelling. So,
And we've also, one of the ones that I think is really funny is, because we go through and we read some of the Rotten Tomato, gripes about it. And one of the ones I've seen a couple times was there's not enough of the tall man. And I was like, have you seen the other films in the franchise? I mean, the tall man's not really your main character. This isn't, Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th.
I mean, he's the villain, you have to get away from him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to focus. You got to care about the protagonists.
Right.
And the good thing about this movie is you have a whole different set of antagonists throughout this film. Now, why would you say that this film is the film that you chose? Why does this film mean so much to you?
An excellent question. We had to go very deep into our psyche to try to figure that one out. That's always scary. Well, the first Phantasm, of course, I really like Phantasm, the OG. Phantasm 2 is all right. Like I said, it's I can see why people like it. But Phantasm 3, for some reason, if one, you get a Michael Baldwin is back, which I was so happy to see. I was very excited about that, and I'm glad he could continue from there to the end of the franchise. You get Reggie back, you get Angus Scrimm back, you get some new characters, like you said, bad and good, that are compelling, that I like. And the story of it, there's something about the story of it that I really like, where they take the plot with this particular installment. I'm a sucker for, I don't know what you would describe this kind of plot, but I'm a sucker for taking a character who's supposed to be seen as like good or innocent or pure or whatever, and then twisting that, tainting it, if you will. Maybe that's the sadistic side, I don't know. But I think that's a really interesting story to me. So you get to see more of like, okay, well, why does the tall man want Mike? What's up with that? So I just think it's
the tall man is still extremely intimidating in this movie.
Yes.
Anytime I hear Angus Scrimm say boy,
Welcome home, boy.
Oh, I know.
it just
time to leave.
Yes,
that's something that's always gotten under my skin, is just to hear him say that. It's just something that I feel is just so utterly, it's almost like Tony Todd's Helen.
but it's all, you know, like when someone talks to you, like when you're a boy, or like like a young child, like talking like I'm
superior to you.
To you. Yeah,
you don't know shit, and I'm about to rock your world.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So do you want to talk about some favorite moments that you have?
Yes, actually, there's. I had a tough time narrowing this down, actually, because I never thought of it necessarily like, this portion of it was fun. It was just the whole thing of like, let's go on this little ride. One of the favorite scenes that I have is the Hemi versus the pink hearse, the chase. The more I learned about that and how that was done, I think the more I appreciated it. If you haven't, I really recommend taking a look at, you can find it on YouTube, the behind the scenes of how they did that scene, because the stuntman, whose name I forget at the moment, and I'm so sorry about that, the stuntman who did that with the hearse, he kept going up to Coscarelli when they were preparing for the scene and saying, I think I can do it better. I think I can do it higher. He kept promising this thing, and Coscarelli's like, oh, well, okay, just don't, easy.
Yeah.
So that whole flip, if you will, that the height of it, the length, how long it goes on, that's real. And that was a stuntman in there with safety precautions, but the whole way there, that was real. He walked out of it fine. But
thank God.
Yeah.
Fuck, everybody, all the cast and crew who were not filming that day showed up to watch that.
I bet.
Oh, yeah, heck yeah, I would have.
And I do want to say that if I can find that, I will have the link down in the description, so you guys can check that out as well for all the behind the scenes stuff. I'm a sucker for it.
I love it.
I know Ashley is a sucker for that too. So we're going to watch that right after this interview while I'm editing, and that link will be in the description, so you guys can check that out as well.
Yeah. And then the other scene is, how should we phrase this? When Mike figures out that he's got a golden sphere, shall we say possession almost? That's just a really interesting scene to me. That's a scene, I think, when I first watched this, where I was like, okay, I like this one. This is interesting. Where are we gonna go with this?
Right. Is that the scene where, like, with his eyes?
That was just before, but that I kind of include that in that moment, if you will. So
what a terrifying scene. You know what I mean? Like, when you see him and he realizes, like, I'm a part of this now. This thing's a part of me. You know, that whole scene to me is just heavy scene.
for
Yep.
sure.
Because up
So
until
we-
then, it was just, me against them, whatever those things are, and then it's like, oh, shit.
Right.
Well, and a big part of this whole movie too is trying, like you said at the top, trying to figure out why the tall man wants Mike so bad. Why there's always been this cat and mouse between the tall man and Mike. And while a lot of people talk about how it's overly comical and things like that, you can't talk down on the kills in this film because there's a lot of great kills throughout Phantasm 3. A couple that made me literally go, oh, damn. So, which kill or kills would you say are your favorite from the film?
Let's see. I'll start with the one that I really remember that I think a lot of people actually remember from this, and that's where Edna gets the ball through her face. Edna goes through a lot. Technically, she gets killed multiple times.
Yeah.
But the ball just right through the face. You're like, oh. Oh no!
It looks so good.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore this moment. And it's one of the ones where, like you're saying, you kind of have this undead thing, where, they're killed and they keep coming back and keep coming back. And I think that's another bitch that we heard about the film.
Yeah.
Is they keep coming back. And I'm like, have you ever watched any horror movie?
Right.
Yeah, they're zombies.
Yeah, that's literally what happens. But what I love about this is they just continue to take a beating throughout the whole film.
But they take it and they come back.
Yeah, they just keep on coming right back for their beating.
I like the way they look too. Like when they're zombified, they look so cool.
It makes it distinct as well from like other zombies at the time, I think. Like they're zombies, but they look different.
But they're not your brainless, mindless zombies. They have a mission. And they're driving, they're talking, they're smart, the way that they're trying to get, kill. And Rocky is a fantastic addition to the film.
Absolutely. I really enjoy Rocky and all of her like little one-liners. She's badass.
Yeah.
So were there any other kills that really stuck with you, or was that kind of just like the one that really stuck with you the most?
Well, that's the one that stuck with me most, that I quite liked, but there were two others actually that I found that I enjoyed. Again, sounds sadistic, but
that's why we love having you.
Exactly. This is the nice little sadistic side of things, the snarkiness. The other two, one actually happens in kind of the same setting, and that's where Rufus's head gets twisted off. It is ridiculous, but at the same time, you watch it and go, ooh.
Yeah.
And then the last one is actually more towards the beginning of the film, when Reggie uses the quadruple barrel shotgun and shoots simultaneously 4 Jawas who just fall from the trees. I like the timing of the comedy.
Yeah. That's a good one.
It's just amazing how he shoots straight up, and yet they fall from all over the place.
Yeah.
Must have a wide spray on that thing. I don't know.
It shoots exactly where it needs to. That's pretty good.
That's the spray and pray technique right there.
So speaking of one-liners in Rocky, do you have any favorite one-liners?
Yeah.
Or just quotes in general?
I have two. One of them is from Rocky. But one from Reggie is...
Ever try vanilla?
Didn't I tell you? Dairy products give me gas.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
I chuckled.
Her face when he says it.
Yeah. She's like, I'm lactose intolerant.
I'm lactose intolerant, Reggie.
I honestly feel like that was a legit laugh from her after he said that. I feel like that was. And then, of course, the last one from Rocky. I think a fitting one to kind of, sort of end the movie on.
Well, keep your balls in the air, Reg.
Has such a multiple meaning.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah.
Exactly. In this movie, it does.
And I'll say one of my biggest, cause I did very much enjoy this movie. But as going into this movie blind, I'd only seen 1 and 2, and then I go into this one and I get to that ending, and I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
I could only imagine actually watching this, when it came out, and being like, now I have to wait.
I've never been a fan of cliffhanger ending.
No,
ever.
never.
I hate it.
You just hate surprises in general.
I do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to wait for anything. I am impatient as hell. So if I had to give one of my biggest criticisms of the film, it would be that I think that I'm not a huge fan of the ending. And like I said, I don't mind the slapstick comedy. Like one thing that we were talking about is the hand, you know, and it ends up going up Reggie's nose. You know, he's trying to pull the hand out of his nose. Like I'm a big fan of that slapstick Army of Darkness type comedy. So that's not a big criticism to me, but the ending is one that really, really bummed me out. What about you? What are some of the criticisms that you actually have of the film?
I think I would agree with you about that. Like the ending where, like I said, if I was watching it live, I would be, I want to know more. Like, why are you leaving me on this cliffhanger?
It's definitely like a sitcom ending. Where you're waiting for
like
next
week's what's going to happen in next week's episode. Yeah. But other than that, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it makes me want to watch the next, the first two, because I've never seen them. So, is this your favorite in the franchise?
Yeah. I mean, I love the original, of course, but I kind of discount, usually when I'm looking through a franchise trying to figure out which one's my favorite, I kind of discount the first because that's a given for a lot of people. But yeah, I think the third one is my favorite. You see the return, like I said, of the original cast, essentially, and some new additions. So, yeah.
And they worked out really well. Even the little boy with his Macaulay Culkin traps all over the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say that scene actually creeped me out when you have the clown thing.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
That was one of the moments where we're watching, and I was like, "Oh, fuck that!"
Oh, hell no!
Like,
he has his frisbee blade,
razor blade.
I would have been way out of the house the minute that I heard the "You're in trouble."
Like, I guess I am. Goodbye.
Yep. All right.
Yes. You're right. You know what? I made a mistake. I'm so sorry.
So usually when we do a My First Horror Movie, we rank a movie out of 5 skulls. Now, what we do there is we judge it on acting, production, none of that. We're just being critics, all that stuff. Here we are being critics, though, Dice. And instead of out of 5 skulls, we're going to judge it out of 10 skulls, because there's 2 hosts now. And we want to cut to the bone. You chose this movie to defend, so it's got to be a little bit of a higher ranking. So 0 skulls, not your favorite, 10 being your absolute favorite. What would your skull ranking of Phantasm 3 be?
I had to think long and hard about this one because, I was trying to take the more critical approach, which is always difficult. We're being slightly biased. If I am remembering correctly, just looking back on what I had done ranking-wise for the first Phantasm, I think I did that 6 out of 10. 2 I gave 5 out of 10. Again, biased, most likely. This one, I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 skulls.
That's good. That's like a C plus.
Yeah. Where would you rank it?
I think I would rank it a 6.5. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I would watch it again, and it makes me want to watch the rest of the franchise. So yeah.
Me being the overly critical one, I always am the lowest, and today is no different. I'm going to give it a 5. Still, for me, a 5 out of 10 is still not bad in my rankings of films. It's a movie that I would put on again. I would watch this movie again because I had a lot of fun with it. And whether it is, like you said, the nostalgia of having the whole cast back, or the introduction of these new characters, and the back and forth between Reggie and Rocky, like their shenanigans in the motel room with the handcuffs, like little things like that just made me genuinely laugh when we were watching the film. But I could have used a little bit more horror, I guess. While I do love horror comedy, I like for it to be a horror movie first, and this kind of really felt more like it was pushing for the comedy aspect, which again, I don't hate. But I wish I could have gotten a little more horror out of the movie. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 in this situation.
Okay, nice. Okay, Dice, so you have 30 seconds to defend this movie to someone and tell them why they need to watch this movie. What would you say to them?
I would say that oftentimes I do understand that sequels can be kind of hit or miss, especially in franchises that are well known. Phantasm is a little bit niche, so if you're already kind of got one foot into Phantasm, then this one shouldn't disappoint you. This one still has the shininess of money. It has the returning cast. It's still scary. You get three interesting antagonists who make it fun. You get Rocky. How can you complain about Rocky? Right. Tim is a kid who says that he can hold his own, and he actually can. And it amps up, I think, the danger of it for the next sequel.
Which we still have to watch.
We do.
Yeah.
So I do want to, again, Dice, say thank you. And I know we said it at the beginning, but I want to say it again. We have all of Dice's social media links and YouTube link down in the description. So make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube and following Dice on social media so you can stay up to date on everything they have coming up for us here in the future. Dice, please don't go anywhere. We got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, as always, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to this video as well. And make sure you're following Sledgehammer Horror on social media. We would love to have you along for the ride as well. So until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
It's never over.